Welcome to UED, and today we will be reading off the subreddit Malicious compliance. First story. Free lunch. Worked for a 3-lettered long-distance company in the 90s, whose core business was long-distance calls, but all their other products and services routinely flopped. They created a program where if you submitted an idea that gets used, you either get movie tickets, a variant of cash saved, or branded clothing. No one cared. However, if you submitted an idea, even if it didn't get used, you got a lunch buck good for $1 in the cafeteria. My friend and I spent a lunch hour submitting ideas like put trampolines in the break area and make our commercials in all black and white, etc. Obviously none of our ideas were at Acton, but we got lunch bucks for each submission. Game on. This started a 4-month-long journey of submitting ideas like, buy our competition, give phones 2 mouthpieces so both grandparents can talk, consider carrier pigeons for intercompany mail on campus, make phone cords straight. The cafeteria workers didn't care as they were contractors, and the contractor bill was reconciled with a different accountant every month, so no one caught on, and we ate free for months until someone in the mailroom told HR we were getting an unusually high amount of lunch bucks. We never got in trouble, but the program ended abruptly. Next story. User app for your convenience? No thanks. Only slight MC, but I enjoy it. I order regular medication through a popular UK online pharmacy app. I put in a feature request to ask that they make it so customers could schedule a regular repeat order. But they haven't, so I have to manually go into the app each month and use my actual fingers to place the order when it notifies me that it's time to place it. Aside for context, there's no financial transaction needed, as the medication itself is free at the point of ordering it, because here in the UK, we can prepay just £108 to the government for unlimited medication for a year, thanks to the apparent tyranny of what some Americans would call socialism faced with tears of joy. I asked how ordering in the app would work if I didn't have a smartphone. I do, OFC, and they made the error of telling me I could email them a request for the meds, and they would manually process the order, but it's slower. Haha. QMC per workaround. I now have an IFTTT automation set up to automatically email them my pre-written prescription request each month, triggered by a specific recurring event in my calendar. I enjoy the fact that every month without fail a customer service agent replies suggesting I use the app for my convenience, when I know that really it's to save them manual processing time. Man shrugging. No thanks. I'll leave it as it is, as this is way more convenient for me. Next story. Don't accept EFT anymore. Okay. This happened quite a few years ago, so I might be a little fuzzy on the exact details, so bear with me. The real estate agent I was renting from at the time decided that they would no longer be taking payments via bank transfer, but rather through a third-party company that had a debit card type system. This card included various discounts for various businesses. You just had to send them your rent every month rather than the agent. Sounds like a great deal until you look at the fine print. As well as an initial setup fee, each transaction would incur a small transfer fee. Granted, this added up to less than $1 per month, but by God they were not going to charge me for the convenience of sending them money. I did some digging into the tenancy laws in my area, and discovered that they were obligated to offer an alternate payment option. After some back and forth with the agent, I was informed it was either the convenient payment card, or delivering a check to their office every month. I signed up to have a free checkbook delivered to my house and dropped that sucker off every month. Was it a pain in the ass? Yes. But I relished the look on their faces every time I handed over the check, and declined their offer to set up an account with the third-party company. I would smile thinking about the admin assistant having to take time out of their workday to take my stupid check down to the bank. Next story. Don't want to turn down your music? Guess I won't either. I recently moved, and my new neighbors seem to have no concept of how much noise they're making. Loud music until late at night, guests having loud conversations or screaming matches, you know the drill. It is important to note that there are so-called Ruhzeiten, resting times. Where I live, you are generally not allowed to make noise between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. on weekdays. That includes loud music. A couple of days ago, at around 11 p.m. during the week, I knocked on their door asking them to turn their music down as I had work in the morning. After being asked why that was their problem, I replied that not only for the sake of being neighborly should they turn their music down, remember, down, not off, I'm no party pooper, but also because it's illegal to be this loud at this time of day. Their reply: "What? You're gonna call the police because of some music? That would not be very neighborly either. So how about we all mind our business and just stick to our own apartment hull? Asterisk. 8bet. Their party went on to about 2 a.m., then they finally stopped. I meanwhile decided to take a home office day to exact my revenge on their no doubt hungover asses. At exactly 6 a.m., knowing that my other neighbor had gone to work, I, for the first time ever, turned my 800W speaker system all the way up to 11. Volume, bass boost, treble, everything. I also turned my subwoofer towards the wall that had their bedroom on the other side. I'm a big fan of electronic music, especially the hard stuff, hardstyle, tech, sci, anything that is loud and has a lot of bass. So I let them share in my joy at full volume. Walls were vibrating, the ground was shaking. I decided to wear earplugs because it was just too much even for me. After about 15 minutes at full volume, I get a notification that someone is at my door. I open it, music still blaring at full power. To my pissed-off looking neighbors in their pajamas, reeking of alcohol, they of course asked me to stop. I replied, "What? You're gonna get angry over a little music? Well, that's not very neighborly. How about you just stick to your apartment hull?" I then slammed the door in their face and turned off my doorbell. After another hour of various dubstep, tech and death metal, I turned off my system, walked over to their door and rang up a storm. After they'd opened their door, all I said was, "Peace. Rue has eaten between 22 and 6 during the week. We cool." Next story. They only take cash. Inspired by the story of the 2-cent bill that couldn't be paid in cash, I'd like to relate the story of a repair business that only wanted cash. The background is that I'm a musician, and a speaker blew up like a month after the warranty expired. Figures. So even though I didn't have any warranty left, I still wanted the official repair guys to take a look at it. This is a business representing one of the world's largest brands, that actually bought the original company that made my speakers. So I expected to be dealing with professionals. I brought the speaker to them. They said they'd take a look and quote me for the repairs. So far so good. The quote took weeks. Then it took them about 3 months to repair it, apparently having to wait, or have forgotten about, for the part that needed replacing. At this point I was already mildly annoyed. I felt that months for a part replacement was pushing it, even with the supply chain issues. But eventually I got an email with the notification that I could collect my speaker upon payment in cash. No way to wire transfer the money. And the bill was €330 and a bit. It was explicitly mentioned that they didn't accept cards. Enter the MC. Because I'm a musician and from time to time I go busking, I find the art of trying to entertain people who have no interest in being entertained challenging. Anyway, that means I collect a lot of coins in the process. They wanted cash. I will give them cash. I counted out the money in whatever coins I had in my money box. I put it in 2 heavy plastic containers and went to collect my speaker. So they got me my speaker. Everything seemed fine, and then the guy mentioned I still needed to pay. I produced my boxes. There was an audible swallow. The guy asked if I had larger money. I offered to pay by card. He said I couldn't. Well, then I don't have other ways of paying them. It was amazing how quickly the 3 men working there passed this job to the only woman in the store. Because she got the honor of counting this money, I sat down and waited. It took well over half an hour and she claimed I was short. Now, I couldn't have been, so I went to try and check on her work, but our systems of counting were nothing alike, hers being the erroneous one. After several minutes of trying to work out what's wrong, she spotted an error in her system. That explained why she miscounted by almost €120. I took my speaker to my car. I heard someone say that maybe they should invest in a counting machine. Yet, that's the problem here, guys, the manual counting. Great deduction. TLDR, they demanded I paid in cash, so I did. With hundreds of coins. Final story. No office supplies. No problem. This is a story my boss told me from his first job. He and a friend were working at an attorney's office as interns, and his supervisor always let them get supplies from a closet. Thing was, for all the pencils they were asked to use, there were no sharpeners. When asked for one, they would refuse to buy one as the supply cabinets were always packed. After that day, his friend would throw out any pencils that showed the slightest dullness, going through multiple boxes each day. They never got a sharpener. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, but it's a story. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.